You're all probably thinking the same exact thing I was. How? How could someone accept a friend request from themselves on Facebook? Well, a few weeks ago, everything in my life was as normal could be. I was living alone in my one-bedroom apartment. I worked at a decent-paying job, even though the hours sucked, and on my off days, I spent them hanging out with friends. As many of you out there listening to this right now, I also like to spend the majority of my time on social media. Heck, some of you probably have Facebook open right now. I would often be on social media right up until I fell asleep. Then, immediately upon waking, I'd grab my phone and once again start browsing pages. It's a strange phenomenon. Social media. Why do I give a crap about Mrs. Davidson's new recipe? Or who Nathan is currently dating? What is so alluring about Erica's trip to the park that afternoon? I'm not sure, but I know one thing. I have to see it. All of it. I have this overwhelming need to see everything the sites have to offer. Getting the tiniest glimpses into other people's lives for the briefest of seconds before ultimately forgetting them forever is like a drug to me. I've met people over the years that vehemently disregard all forms of social media. They would even mock or belittle others who seemed glued to their phones. Facebook is just a money-hungry corporation that thrives on stealing personal information from all of their users. They would say time and time again. Yet, on more than one occasion, I'd catch them scrolling through their phones, checking status updates and the like. I can't blame them, however. In a digital society where everything is connected, it's truly difficult to live off the grid. Pretty much the only way nowadays is to renounce technology altogether and just live in the woods like a hermit. But for the rest of society, we all mindlessly drone along, liking photos, commenting our opinions, and subscribing to more and more outlets of information. One day, out of the blue, I received a new notification after leaving work. Such a glorious feeling it is to receive a notification. The fact that someone took the time out of their day to interact with you is amazing. At least, to me it is. I quickly retrieved my phone from my pocket to check the notification. When I saw it, confusion and mild annoyance struck me at the same time. Thomas Parker has sent you a friend request. I stared at the message for a while, thinking that I may have misread it. But no, I was reading it correctly. I decided to wait to inspect it a bit further once I got home from work. The entire drive home, I was trying to think of how it happened. While it's entirely possible that another Thomas Parker had found me and jumped at the chance to befriend someone with the same name, the odds of that happening were quite slim. I then began to think it was one of my friends, creating a duplicate profile just to have a laugh at my expense. That rationalization seemed a bit more plausible in my mind. When I arrived home, I booted up my computer and grabbed myself a snack, ready for yet another night of internet binging. With a click of a button, a slew of web pages flooded my screen. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Yahoo, and of course, Facebook. But only one of those pages had a flashing notification on them. With a sigh, I opened Facebook. Oh my God. Christina got a new cat. Yawn. I moved my cursor over my new friend request and clicked it. Just like I thought, I hadn't misread my phone. There, sitting in a tiny little box, was a request from Thomas Parker. He even had the same profile picture as I had. I clicked on the profile, and with no surprise, his page was completely private. I thought about clicking on Deny Request for a moment, before the thought crept in that I could just unfriend him and block him if it is in fact a prank. So, I clicked Accept. The moment I clicked it, a message box popped up. Hello, Thomas, it said. To say that it caught me off guard would be an understatement. I was not expecting a message from this imposter so quickly. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I went back to look at his page. What I saw made my hands freeze above my keyboard. The entire page was exactly like mine. For the past 2 years, every post I had ever made, this page made the same exact post within minutes of my own. Every status, every photo copied to theirs. What confused me was that my page is 100% private. So how could he have gotten access to all my posts like that? I tried to brush off the weird posts and went back to the messenger. "Hello, Thomas," I replied with a smirk. I knew at that moment it had to be a prank from one of my friends. They simply would stalk my Facebook with their normal page, then copy the post onto the fake page. But to do that for 2 years straight seemed like a bit much. His next message made me somewhat nervous though. "I see you." My head snapped back to the window behind me in a single motion. Then I thought about how I was on the 4th floor and my blinds were drawn. I turned my attention back to my monitor. "Jake, is this you?" I asked, but I didn't receive any response from the page for the rest of the night. The whole interaction had me confused and, I'll admit, a little unnerved, but I quickly put it out of my mind. The next morning, I awoke to find a new notification on Facebook. A new message. "I can still see you." That message fully woke me up as I stared at it with wide eyes. My gaze drifted from my phone to my window. My heart thudded in my chest as I saw that my window blinds were now open from the previous night. I looked back at the message and noticed one other thing that was odd to me. The message was sent at 6:50 a.m. The current time was 6:55 a.m. Somehow, this person had sent a message to me right before I woke up. I sent a reply. "Ha ha, real funny, man. You must be super bored." Just as soon as I sent the message, a new one came in. "Your coffee's ready." Just then, the auto timer on my coffee maker I set the previous night for 7 a.m. sounded throughout my dark apartment. In a wave of panicked rage, I sent back another message. "Listen, I don't know who this is, but if you keep messing with me, you'll regret it." I didn't receive another response after that. Feeling victorious, I got ready for the day and went to work. For the next few days, I didn't receive so much as a single notification from the imposter. Feeling like I had finally won the battle, I settled back into my routine. I was leaving work 2 days ago when I received a new message. To be honest, I really didn't want to open it, but my hand seemed to move on its own. This time, the imposter sent a photo. Upon seeing it, I felt my stomach sink. It was a picture of the inside of my bedroom. I had never taken a picture of my bedroom in my life, so there was no way someone could have that picture without being in there at that very moment. I called the police and informed them that someone had broken into my apartment. They told me they would send a car right away. When I arrived home, the police were already on the scene and asked me how I knew someone had broken in. I explained that someone had been pranking me for a couple of weeks now, but they just sent me a picture from inside my place. We entered my apartment together and searched everywhere but found nothing. The police asked me if anything was out of place and I told them nothing was amiss. After the officer took a statement and left, I opened up Facebook once again. I was shocked to find that all the messages between myself and the imposter were gone. I spent over an hour searching for the profile, but I came up empty-handed. The relief that washed over me was like a warm shower. That was quickly halted when I noticed a piece of paper sticking out from underneath my monitor. After taking it out and reading it, that uneasy feeling I felt from his messages quickly came back. The paper was blank, aside from 3 words. "See you soon." Ever since that day, I haven't spent more than 20 minutes on social media. I don't send messages anymore. and I definitely don't accept friend requests from anyone. That fear of being watched still hangs over me. Yesterday, I received a call from a good friend of mine. He sounded annoyed and upset. He asked if I had created a fake Facebook profile to mess with him. I told him it was a scam trying to steal his information. I told him to block and report it. I probably should have told him the truth, but I didn't want him to go through the same thing I went through. I don't know who was impersonating me or how, but I'll leave you with a little bit of advice. Do not accept a friend request from yourself on Facebook. If you do, you might not be as lucky as I am.